For the last couple of weeks, I have been on a journey. I've traveled from the channel rack to the mixer track to deep inside the ocean of settings, and no, this is way too much. I'm just here to tell you guys what's coming to FL Studio 21. And it's awesome. FL Studio is now customizable. Go to the Options tab and click on General. Scroll down until you see the Miscellaneous window. Click on Select Theme. This will open up a brand new window we've all been waiting for. Now, the default template is selected, but with these adjustments, you can literally customize everything in FL Studio to your liking. For example, if you want to have a black FL Studio, turn down the brightness. Then increase the text brightness, and boom, this is gonna be my favorite. You can also do the opposite. Increase the brightness and decrease the text brightness. If needed, play around with the contrast and saturation to make the text more visible. With the hue control, you can even give FL a tint. With these controls, you can change the color of button selections. For example, the highlights of the buttons on top. And the same thing for the meters. Now let's make it purple. If you're done customizing, you can save it as a preset. Now, I'm sure in the final version, the previews will be visible here. This is so cool. Oh, and I'm thinking about painting the studio in another color to create more contrast between me and the wall. So if you have any suggestions, definitely let me know in the comments down below. Next, I want to show you the new browser. Now you can search for basically anything. Let's say I want to look for one of my 808s, then just type it in and voila. The waveform is also visible, which is handy, and you can also adjust the volume of the sample played in the browser. Right-click the sample and select favorite. Now, if you click on start, a list with all your favorite sounds will open, including the one we just added. They also added the option to create tags. Right-click the sample and click add tag. Now type in 808s, for example. And now you can filter your search results with that tag. This is a really efficient way to save drum kits for yourself so you don't have to browse through 1,000 samples. Next thing, they finally added crossfades. This means that you can now lay a sample on another one and then a crossfade will appear. You can, for example, merge a kick and 808 together, and now you can kinda create a sidechain effect. The length of the fade can be adjusted by extending or shortening the fade control. To edit the curve of the fade, click and drag this point up or down. Now, this is really awesome to create unique 808s because you can now drag two of them together and combine a head and tail from two different samples. Cool! To blend them even better together, you can adjust the gain by dragging this point up or down. This is awesome if you want to create a more unique sound. But why is this so useful? Well, now you don't need as much automation clips as before. ImageLine also added some brand new plugins to FL. For example, Multiband Delay. Here we have a melody playing and here you can see all the frequencies. This effect splits the frequencies in 16 bands, which means that you can control the delay, volume, and panning for every band individually. If you go to volume, you can, for example, turn down the highs if you want that. Now, as you can see, this creates a curve like this, and that's because the curve mode is enabled. If you click on this one, you will enable the line mode. Now you can create accurate lines or change bands individually. With the pencil mode, you have a complete freedom to do whatever you want with the bands. Now let's see what the delay can do. With the scale knob, you can select how much delay goes through the bands. And with the feedback, you can basically choose how many times the delay is going to play the sample, just like with every delay. And of course, with the morph control, you can now choose how much morph there will be between the bands. You should also mess around with the presets that come with the plugin because they're also pretty cool. And as you probably know, you can mix the wet-dry signal with the mix knob on the bottom right. Awesome. The next plugin is called Verb. Verb. Whatever. This is obviously a reverb effect, but what's the difference between the other reverbs in FL? Well, with this effect you have way more control. On top you have the reverb itself, and on the bottom you can find the envelope. Let's start with the reverb. Now here you have the input tab, which is gonna be the sound that you send into the effect. You can adjust the gain and you can even high or low cut the sound. In the reverb tab you can obviously adjust the amount of reverb, and with this one you can enable or disable it. Then in the feedback section you can adjust the feedback of the reverb, and with the mix control you can adjust how much of the reverb sound will go through the feedback. Then of course with the output controls you can mix between the wet and dry effect and further tweak the sound here. With the envelope you can shape the reverb to your likings. Oh, and what I really like about this is how easy it is to sidechain the effect. If you have a reverb on your melody, for example, you can sidechain your drums to the reverb and then select it from the list. Now tweak the settings for a balanced mix between the drums and the melody. Oh, and you can learn everything about mixing right here in last week's video, so go check that out. Gotta go now. Goodbye.